vinyl friends and vinyl community, it's Brian from Brian's Vinyl Records, and this is my August record haul. We'll start off with some new releases that came out in August that I picked up. Only 2 of them this month, but they're good ones. First up, we got Amanda Shires, Take It Like a Man. This is fantastic, by the way. If you're not familiar with Amanda Shires, she's a fiddle player who is all over the country and southern rock world, does a lot of session work with a lot of big bands, but also she has her own stuff that she does. She's also in Jason Isbell's 400 unit group. She's married to Jason Isbell, and she's absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend her work if you are not familiar with it. So this is the brand new album that she put out. This is the indie exclusive on white vinyl, and it sounds great. Really good album. Super happy for her. Just awesome stuff. And the other brand new album that I picked up this month was Whiskey Myers' new release. This is called Tornillo. I can't even know. I don't even know. But anyway, brand new release from them. This is a pretty cool one. Great record. These guys are southern rock. Really good stuff. Someone in the vinyl community turned me on to them, and I'm super happy about it. They're just fantastic. So check this out. Tornillo, I believe it is. Whiskey Myers. All right, so then some other stuff I picked up this month. This one just was put out as a reissue recently. This is Chris Isaak's Heart-Shaped World. The song Wicked Game is on this, which was probably his biggest hit that he ever had. And this is just an awesome album. It's total throwback to that 50s and 60s style. Really good stuff. Chris Isaak, great voice. This one came on a white vinyl with the Sun Records label. Really cool. Great album. Highly recommend picking it up. I finally picked up Brothers Osborne's Pawn Shop album. This is a great album as well. Super happy to grab that. This was released a couple years back and didn't get it, but they finally have been able to restock the reissue. This is Damien Rice's O album. Has the song The Blower's Daughter on it, which is a song I absolutely love. This is a great, relaxing album. Just real nice listen. Highly recommended. Great songwriter. This is one I wasn't familiar with. This is Soul Asylum, and the album is The Silver Lining. This was the final album with their bass player before he tragically passed away. But this was something that my local record store recommended. This is their exclusive version. So 2 record stores here in Minnesota, of course, Soul Asylum from Minnesota, got 50 copies each of a special kind of a purplish red color album. So this is one of 100 in total on this color vinyl. So pretty cool. I finally picked up a copy of the Drive-By Truckers Southern Rock Opera. This is hard to find. It was released in 2012 and hadn't had a vinyl pressing really since then. For some reason, Sound of Vinyl got a exclusive red vinyl copy, and I was able to find it there. These go for big bucks online, but you can still buy them directly from Sound of Vinyl. So if you like this album and don't have it, I recommend going out to the soundofvinyl.us and picking up a copy, because they still have them in stock, and it's much cheaper than buying second hand. Great album. It's a concept album. It is a full opera, acts 1 and 2, and very interesting stuff about the South, growing up and living in the South. So pretty good stuff. I decided to pick this up. Not a fan of this musician at all, and especially not after what the news broke about him a few years back. But someone sent me a link to this album and told me to take a listen to it, and I've listened to his stuff before and just never really got it. But this album I actually liked, so I decided to pick it up. This is Ryan Adams, and the album is called Big Colors. Just the stupidest cover I've ever seen personally, but a great album. Really enjoyed listening to it, and this is the only Ryan Adams album I have in my collection. Probably will be the only Ryan Adams album I have in my collection, but it's good. It's a great album. You know, he had some issues come out, and not a very nice person, but as far as the songs on this go, I really enjoyed it. So decided to pick it up. Been looking for this one for a while. This is one of the all-time greatest albums ever recorded, and it's been released millions of times, but there's a specific version that is supposed to sound absolutely incredible, and I can attest that it does. This is Marvin Gaye's What's Going On. This is the 40th anniversary, I believe, version, and it was cut by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio from the original analog tapes, and it sounds absolutely incredible. If you want this copy, you do need to find it with this label on it. The European version of this apparently does not sound very good, but the US pressing of it sounds fantastic. You know, Motown, just really good stuff. This was released on Tamla Records, and it's awesome. So highly recommend searching for that particular pressing of the vinyl. Also, this is an album I didn't really know by the artist, but a friend of mine in the VC told me it's fantastic and it's aged very well, and he highly recommended it. So they released it on vinyl, and it was very limited. I think 300 copies, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry, 2,500 copies were released, and I just hadn't heard it. So I picked up the CD, which I got locally for like $3. Listened to it, really enjoyed it. So when it became available at my local record store, I decided to grab it. This is Elvis Costello's Mighty Like a Rose, a really interesting album. He was going through a lot of stuff apparently at the time, was very angry, and wrote some killer tunes on here. This is the music on vinyl version. Like I said, 2,500 copies, gold record. Really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I picked these two up recently. Very big fans of the Allman Brothers. This is a band created with 3 of the sons from Allman Brother members, and it's called the Allman Betts Band. Really good, awesome Southern rock. They do their fathers proud with this stuff. It's really good. This is their self-titled album. It comes on a kind of clear or milky clear vinyl. Really awesome sounding album. And then I also picked up their other album, Bless Your Heart. Again, great album. This one comes on Coke bottle clear, and fantastic stuff. Picked this up. Never really was a big fan of this series, and when it came out, and didn't really ever want to have it on vinyl, but so many people keep talking about how great it sounds, so I decided to pick up Metallica's S&M. You know, it's good, it sounds great, but it's really not my style. I'll listen to it though. It's got some really good tracks on here. It's got some really dumb tracks on here too. Outlaw Scorn or Thorn or whatever. I never liked that track from the Load Reload era, but otherwise, you know, it's a good listen and it's fun. Just really not my thing. Live Metallica, not my thing. Picked up a bunch of old country, folk type albums, some jazz stuff too, from a gal that went to school with my brother. Her father and mother were downsizing from their house into a smaller home and needed to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff, and of that stuff they were getting rid of was all their records. And so I went and I said, I'll just take them sight unseen, doesn't matter. And there's some real good gems in there and some good stuff that I've sent on to other people as well. But this is one I had to keep. This is Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits. This is, I believe, a UK only pressing, and sounds really good. The guy took care of everything just beautifully. Everything was great. So super excited to have that in my collection. This is one I've not seen before. Pretty cool though. Here's a band that I just never was a big fan of, and I know my wife really likes one song from these guys. Apparently I just found out it was one song. She's had this album in her collection forever as far as CDs go. Never knew that she never listened to anything but the one song. So I picked this up because people say their albums sound awesome, and you know, I just never gave them much of a chance. This is Dave Matthews Band, and this is the album Crash. This is the 20th anniversary reissue. I think it came out a few years back, and it was finally back in stock in stores, so I grabbed a copy. It does sound pretty incredible, and I was quite surprised at how much I enjoyed the album as a whole. for it. So yeah, Crash is the song she listened to. I also believe there is one other track on here that was big, and I can't think of it right now. So Much to Say, maybe. I don't remember. But good album. Really happy that I picked it up. All right, the next two albums that I have here, I was pretty excited about. These were reissued in, I believe it was Greece, maybe. And the album label was No Remorse. And the only way to get them was overseas, or stores would buy them and upcharge. And that's what they did here. I had to pay a premium for them because they were brought in from overseas. But I was happy to do that. This is Quiet Riot and Quiet Riot 2. These are the Japanese only releases of the first two albums from Quiet Riot, which feature Randy Rhoads on guitar. Never really released in the United States. You could get some CDs, I think, at one point. The family kind of stopped these from being released many times. Randy Rhoads' family. I don't know what changed, but they were finally reissued. They sound fantastic. They did a great job with these represses. Super happy about it. I've never heard the songs sound as good as they do on these vinyl reissues, which is awesome. All right, next up, and we'll close out with my Japanese pressings. As you know, if you've watched the last several months, I've gotten kind of into collecting Japanese presses, which is not a cheap endeavor. I'm trying to keep it to some of my favorite albums, but sometimes things slip through. Anyway, I picked up a bunch of Japanese presses, and then at the end will be a few grails that I also picked up. So let's start here with Billy Joel's The Stranger. This album is almost like a greatest hits album for Billy Joel. It is fantastic, and it's sentimental to me because my wife and I's wedding song is on this album. So super pumped to have this Japanese pressing of this, and it sounds killer. Also, with Billy Joel, I grabbed Glass Houses because I love the song You May Be Right. This is a good album as well, and so happy to have it. It does have a cap obi on it, and it sounds great. This one is in shrink still, which is really nice, so it keeps everything nice and tidy in there. A classic album that came available and wasn't really too bad of a price. Had to pick it up. This is Def Leppard's Pyromania, and this is the apparently rarer red obi. There's a yellow obi, a red obi, and I believe one other color obi available, and this is the rarest of the three. Not to say that it's very rare, but anyway, was happy to grab this one as well. Pyromania, great album. Picked up a couple from David Lee Roth. We'll start with his EP Crazy from the Heat. This is a great album, little EP, great stuff. Got it for a pretty good price. And then I also picked up Skyscraper, another great album. Steve Vai on guitar, just fantastic stuff. Grabbed a copy of Mr. Mister. This was dirt cheap, so I decided why not pick this up, because who doesn't need Kiri in their life? Great album by Mr. Mister, and probably the only one of theirs I really cared to own in the first place, so definitely picked that up. This one's really cool. Unfortunately, it does not have the obi strip, but it is LA Guns' self-titled album. Because it didn't have the obi strip, I got it for a dirt cheap price compared to what you would pay for this normally. So super excited to have it. It sounds great. It's in excellent shape, has the inserts and everything, and the only thing it's missing is that little obi strip. So I got a heck of a deal on it because of that. How about this one? Rod Stewart. This is the album Order. Has the song Forever Young on it. Really probably my favorite Rod Stewart album. It is really good, fantastic stuff, and you don't see that very often, so to find a Japanese pressing of it was pretty cool, and the price I paid is what I would pay probably for a US version of it too. So super happy to have picked that up. Adding to my AC/DC collection, I'm slowly getting all the Japanese presses from AC/DC. This is Blow Up Your Video, one of my favorites from AC/DC's Brian Johnson era. Great album, underrated I think, suffered from a little bit of poor production, but great songs on here. Vinyl always has sounded much better than my CDs have, so super pumped to add this to my collection. Also picked up Sammy Hagar's Standing Hampton. Probably his best solo album, in my opinion, is this one. Some might argue VOA or his self-titled albums are they're also really good, but I love this one. I Can't Drive 55 is the big hit off of this one. Really cool to see it in Japanese press. And again, got this for a really good deal. Didn't pay a whole lot for that at all. Another one I got for a really good price was this bad boy here. And this will be the last of the Japanese presses. And this is Wings Greatest Hits. Yeah, really big obi on this one. I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, it's an interesting compilation because it's not just Wings on here. You have some of Paul McCartney's solo stuff on here as well. And I think because they use the Ram album songs, because Linda and him put that out as a joint effort, and really they were Wings with a couple people added here and there. But yeah, this is pretty good. I don't know that, I think there's some songs from Wings that might have benefited from being on here instead of others, but you take it as you go and go with it. The big ones on here, Jet is on here. That's probably the big one. Band on the Run, Silly Love Songs are on here. I could have done without Live and Let Die, but you know, I've heard that song to death. So, all right, that does it for Japanese pressings. Now we're moving into grails, and I picked up 3 really exciting grails for me. Let's start here. You know, I've been waiting for an announcement from Garth Brooks that he's going to put out another box set. And I know he will, and I know it's going to happen. But with pressing plants being so far behind, it's hard for him to commit to doing that because you know he's going to press like 8 million copies of the damn thing. So I decided to just go with it. I had already picked up Roping the Wind, and so I just decided to grab Garth Brooks' self-titled. I thought the price on this was fair when I saw it. I got it for about $20 to $30 under what it normally goes for, and happy to have it. It sounds really good. The pressing is clean. The album cover is clean, so happy to have that in my collection. And honestly, I have almost all of the Garth Brooks that I grew up with already now on vinyl because I picked up this one and Rope in the Wind. So when the box set comes out, I'll probably pick it up, but I got everything I want from him on vinyl anyway. 2 from this band that I picked up. Last month I picked up Peace Sells for Who's Buying from Megadeth. This month I found an OG press of So Far So Good So What. This is their 3rd album, Megadeth, and pristine shape. Super pumped about that. This one I paid a little more than I wanted to for, but it's, you know, right around what it goes for, so not much I can do there. And last but certainly not least for August, and this is a real big grail for me, this is Megadeth's Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. This is their debut album from 1985 on the Combat Camo label. They put this out on several different labels. They've got the green camo, the gray camo. They've got a couple other variations of the label here that you can find on the original pressings. And so I've got the gray camo version. Sounds so good. I just remember when I got this on CD growing up, it sounded like crap. It sounded like they were recorded in a tin can, and I always hated the album because of it. So when they released the Final Kill version of the album, I was super happy to have a clean, clear sounding version of the album. Well, let me tell you, this album on vinyl sounds fantastic. It sounds really good. The Kill is better, Final Kill is better, but this is not anywhere near what I remember listening to the CD version of it. It sounds great. I'm super happy to have found this. I paid a good amount for it because they aren't easy to find here in the States, but super happy to have it in my collection. That means I have the first 3 Megadeth albums in OG form now, which is great because as a lot of you know, a lot of the reissues that they've done use the 2004 re-records that Dave Mustaine did, and I don't mind most of the re-recorded stuff. I think it's fine, but if I want to listen to the album proper, I do want to hear it the way it was released. And so picking up the OGs, it's really the only way to guarantee you're going to get that. And unfortunately, the rest of the OGs cost an arm and a leg, and so I don't think I'm going to be able to afford those unless something just falls in my lap. And who knows, I've had that happen before. I'm not going to say never, but you never say never. All right, that's about it for my haul for August. I hope you enjoyed some of the records I showed here today. What were your favorites from my poll this month? Hope you enjoyed the albums. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below. As you know, I love talking to those in the VC. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep spinning, vinyl friends.